We encourage you to like us on Facebook and make us one of the popular kids. So a number of people today have asked me what our purpose is. Do we take a position on this issue? Let me try and describe briefly our aim. It is simply to bring interesting and lively policy discussions to a wider audience. Our format is structured discussion as opposed to debate or formal presentation. And our panels feature notable experts and moderators. We encourage questions from the audience. John Giordino is going to lead us in a Q&A session later today, and I hope all of you will participate and are thinking of some great questions to ask this great panel. Now, when it comes to the hydrofracking issue, it seems to me, anyway, the competing interests are pretty clear. On the one hand, drilling for natural gas in New York State represents the opportunity to create tens of thousands of jobs and billions, literally billions of dollars in new economic activity. There are wonderful reports that are actually fairly easy to read on this topic. The DEC of the state has issued in its proposals some economic findings. The Manhattan Institute has a study that was issued in June, which as usual is quite clear and good and sensible. And I urge you all to read it. But in addition to the economic benefits that might accrue to our state, there are other important benefits. Natural gas is said to be cleaner than coal and oil and could serve as a transition to a broader use of more cleaner fuels generally. And hydrofracking, along with other energy technologies, can help us, it is said, achieve energy independence from foreign suppliers. This is a worthy goal for the economy and for national security, and indeed has been a national policy goal for nigh on 40, 50 years, and apparently is near at hand. On the other hand, hydrofracking poses some very serious risks. They are risks to the public water supply, risks to public health in terms of carcinogens, and other kinds of risks. Hydrofracking will represent a strain on local roadways in rural districts and jurisdictions. It will create tremendous waste, and it will strain waste disposal systems in the state. And then there is the question of the relationship of landowners, private landowners, and drilling companies, and the leases that they sign together, and whether those leases are clear, and whether they are fair, and whether they are lawful. So we have these competing interests. And this is the issue before us, really, isn't it? I mean, this is the issue for not only our panel, but for us in this room, and indeed everybody in New York State. After all, we are the successors of generations that were not afraid or fearful of industrial processes. We are the successors of generations that built the Brooklyn Bridge, tunneled under the Hudson River, built a great harbor here in New York, dug the Erie Canal, harnessed the power of Niagara Falls. Is it really not within our power as a polity and a citizenry and a people to figure out how to marshal an industrial process called hydrofracking, draw this valuable resource from the ground beneath our very feet, but do it in a safe manner, in a way that respects people's rights and is lawful? Maybe it's not in our possibility to do that. And if that's the case, we've got a really interesting discussion ahead of us. So you've heard me talk about it a little bit. We have some real experts who know this issue cold, and we're gonna begin to hear from them as soon as we're done with lunch. I want to introduce them now, and then Jamie and panelists, when you're ready, you can come up. I'm going to go in alphabetical order and introduce Albert F. Appleton first. Al Appleton is an international expert in water resource and water utility management. He's a lecturer at Cooper Union. He served as our commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection here in New York City, and is also the director of the New York City Water and Sewer Systems. Al is acknowledged as having developed and implemented groundbreaking innovations that have saved New York City billions of dollars in protecting and perfecting its water supply. He holds degrees from Gonzaga University and Yale Law School. Al Appleton. Terry Engelder. Dr. Engelder is a leading, perhaps the leading authority on the Marcellus Shale. He is a professor of geosciences at Penn State University. He holds degrees from Penn State, Yale, Texas A&M, and other notable distinctions. Why doesn't he hold a degree from Cornell? I guess his parents went to Cornell. So, but here we are at the Cornell Club. Dr. Ann Gelder also has served on the staffs of the U.S. Geological Survey, at Texaco, at Columbia University. He's written extensively about the Appalachian region and has worked internationally as a consultant on exploration and production issues for Saudi Aramco, Royal Dutch Shell, numerous other companies. And I'm very pleased to tell you that just yesterday, Dr. Ann Gelder was named one of the top global thinkers of 2011 by Foreign Policy magazine. Very impressive, very prestigious acknowledgement of his work, and which will be featured in a special issue of Foreign Policy in December. Stu Gruskin is a partner in the consulting firm of Gruskin Gordon. From 2007 to 2010, Stu served as Executive Deputy Commissioner of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. There he oversaw the state's environmental quality and natural resource policies and regulations, including the present or now ending moratorium on drilling in the Marcellus Shale in New York State. Stu also served as chair of the board of directors of the Environmental Facilities Corporation, known as the EFC. He's an expert in water management and water issues in municipalities and localities throughout the state. Before joining state government, Stu had a 25-year legal and business career here in the city. He's a graduate of the State University of New York at Albany and of Albany Law School at Union College. Matthew T. Ryan, is the mayor of Binghamton, New York. Binghamton, the seat of Broome County in New York's southern tier, is situated at the center of a prime drilling zone once this fracking moratorium, and if this fracking moratorium is lifted. Mayor Ryan hails from his city. He grew up there, went to high school there, graduated from Binghamton University, where for many years he taught environmental law. He has a degree from CUNY Law School and served for many years as the public defender, first of Broome County and then of the city of Binghamton. Mayor Ryan was elected in 2005 and re-elected in 2009. Our moderator today is Jamie Kittman. Jamie is the New York bureau chief at Automobile Magazine, where he's also a longtime columnist. He is the automotive editor at GQ, a featured blogger on NPR's Car Talk, and a contributor to The Nation, The Washington Post, Harper's, Foreign Policy, Top Gear, Car Magazines, and The New York Times. Jamie has won numerous awards, including the National Magazine Award for Commentary and an IRE Award for investigative magazine reporting on the use of lead gasoline. Mr. Kittman is an avid car collector and a major carbon consumer. His carbon footprint, I'm sure, rivals Al Gore's at least. He owns a fleet of very cool cars that are garaged across the metro region and possibly all over the world, and he serves as a judge at numerous classic car shows. But given the evident internal conflict between Jamie's dedication to cars and car culture and his obvious and very sincere commitment to social justice, Jamie seems like the ideal person to help us talk about balancing energy production, public safety, and environmental stewardship today. So panelists, we're thrilled to have you here, and guests too. And Jamie, you're in the driver's seat whenever you're ready. There's a green flag. Go to it.